Okay, let's try this again. That was so weird. I was on a Facebook Live, but it wasn't anywhere. It told me that I was live, but I literally couldn't find the live anywhere. And I couldn't share it or anything, but it kept telling me I was live, so I had to actually shut my phone off because I didn't know where it was. I was live somewhere in the universe. Somebody watched me laughing to myself, trying to figure out where the hell the live was. So if any of y'all just saw me in a live somewhere, tell me where the hell it was. It was literally nowhere. It was so strange. Okay, let me just see really quick. Oh, that was really good. Okay, who do we got here? Hi! Thank you for saying hi. Hey, Susan. Hey, Tina. How are you, girl? Hey, Amy. Okay, yeah, so I went live, and the live was nowhere to be found on the internet, but my phone told me I was live. The red button was on and it said live, and I looked everywhere and I couldn't find it anywhere. Yay, I'm glad you're great, girl. It's nice to see your face, or name. It's nice to see your name. It's nice to hear from you. Hi, Laura. Hi, Amy. Well, I love when you do lives with me. Hi, Kathleen. Yeah, so it said live, and I was freaking out because I don't know where the live was. And I looked everywhere, it was not in any of my groups, it wasn't anything. It was very strange. Oh, thanks for the love heart shower. Okay, so here's the truth. I was like, I can't go live right now because I'm feeling in that raw, vulnerable state. I'm just feeling cracked open or naked or, what the thing is. Yes, Trek Gremlins. Susan, if you figure out where that live was, make sure you tell me because I don't freaking know. It was somewhere. Lost in the ethers somewhere. Okay. So I was like, no, I'm not going to go live because I'm feeling really raw and I'm just going to go journal. And then I was like, well, I already did that. I already went and journaled and I already wrote down all my feelings and I already told myself all the things that I needed to hear from anybody in my life. And I felt really good. And I was just like, no, it's just a leftover sense of vulnerability. And I was laughing because I was thinking, this is what I keep hearing from my tribe. In my different programs and stuff like that, I'm consistently hearing people, it's just obviously it's a bunch of incredible, amazing people who are making brave moves in their life and they're taking brave leaps and they're changing things and they're, shifting dynamics of things, and it feels vulnerable. It is freaking vulnerable to do something that's really different and to engage in something. So here's the epiphany that I had though. And this is what made me get on the live. The epiphany I had was that's just excitement. Just I know I'm bordering being socially acceptable right now, but it feels genuine, which is why I say it this way. I really actually thought I might be manic for a second. When I first started making big changes in my life and my business was doing amazing, I thought well, maybe I'm manic because I was just up all the time. I was energetic and I was happy and I was so excited for my life, and I was like, what the hell's wrong with me? Maybe there's something wrong with me. And then I realized oh, this is just what happiness feels like. This is what happy feels like. I'm just happy. And so it was kind of the same epiphany that I had when I was feeling, there was this feeling I kept having, which was a vulnerable feeling, but I realized it's excitement. So when I do new things, especially when I step outside the line or something that I've always kind of dreamed of, but I never really let myself engage in, or, if I released something from the past, if I walked away from something older and it's really this open space and I haven't really engaged in the next thing yet, and then you step into it, it doesn't matter if it's something to do with success in my business or connecting deeper with my clients or shifting the mentors or romance and stuff in my romantic life. It just doesn't even matter. It's any of those things you step into, there's this feeling that you have. And if we can accidentally think happiness is manic, we can accidentally think excitement is anxiety. Right? If we're not familiar with being really excited and living in the space of excitement right now, what happens is and I reached out, right? And of course it was perfect feedback. My girlfriend says, well, there's a fine line between, the line between you guys know this phrase, but it's very applicable, right? The line between excited and anxious is simply what we're predicting, right? It's I have this feeling inside my body. It could be anxiousness or it could be excitement. I'm going to identify with it being excitement. If I'm anticipating good things, I'm going to identify it with being anxiety if I'm anticipating negative things. So it's really just where our focus goes changes what the word is. However, oh, sorry, I just had a call come in. What I realized was if we're unfamiliar with the good feeling, some of you guys may have heard it referred to as like an upper limit. It's like the tension that we feel when we have something good in our life. So if we're super unfamiliar with the good feeling, we think something's wrong, but nothing's friggin' wrong. So like throughout the day a little bit, I thought like, maybe something's wrong. Maybe I did something off, or maybe I did something I shouldn't have done. But all that was happening was I was feeling really excited. Like it was just, I was enjoying something. I was enjoying it and I was excited about it and I liked it and I was happy I had it. And because that was unfamiliar for me in that particular arena, for a second, I was tempted to think that something was wrong. Do you see what I'm saying? Just like when I was like buzzing every single day, just like buzzing, loving my whole life, I thought maybe something was wrong. And it's really funny because when I went to Bali, when I went to the healer there, the healer said to me, why are you here? Like he had healed 40 people in front of me. He's poking them in the toes and he's poking them in the side and he's doing all of these things, right? This Balinese healer. He's this world famous Balinese healer. He's like the guy that studied with the guy from Eat, Pray, Love. He's like 100 years old and he's healing all of these people, doing all these crazy things, testing all the different parts of their body. And so I'm standing in line. I don't know if you guys know the story. It's a pretty good one. I'm standing in line and there's this beautiful blonde girl in front of me. I'm just drop dead gorgeous. Looks like she works straight out of a magazine. And I'm like, just standing there and sort of connecting with her a little bit. And all of a sudden, so I'm still thinking like, oh, I have another 10 minutes or so before I get tortured. So I'm standing there. All of a sudden, she turns around to me because it is intimidating watching him heal these people. I mean, he's really like, people are leaving with bruises between their toes and on their legs and sides and everything. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar. Have any of you guys seen a Balinese healer? It's quite intense, right? So I'm intimidating. All of a sudden, she turns around and she says, oh, you can go. And she walks off. And I'm like, bitch. Oh, I was so mad at her. So she walks off and all of a sudden I'm standing there. So I wasn't prepared for this. And I've been waiting a long time. And so I go and I'm standing in front of him. All of a sudden he does something he didn't do with anybody else. And I'm like, of course you're going to start yelling at me. And he's like, why are you here? And I'm like, what the hell? I don't know, because it's the thing to do in Bali. Like, I'm not really sure because I'm pretty sure I'm fucked up and you're going to help me. I know there's something wrong with me and you're some crazy, amazing Balinese healer. So I'm pretty sure you're going to do something and fix something inside of me. Right? So he's like, why are you here? And he goes, waves his hands around my body like this. And he says, your blood is good. Your spleen, your kidneys, your brain, everything's good. Why are you here? And he goes, your only problem is you look for a problem. And it's like, to this day, those words are reverberating inside of me. Like, to this day, when I have emotions that feel too good, I could easily identify with them as something being wrong. And this is why I have people in my life that I continue to pull close to me and to build relationships and tribe with that will reflect back to me in the moment like, hey, stupid, could you just enjoy yourself for a second? And I'm like, oh, interesting. I'm getting all the things that I want in life because I'm open and available for them. And then when they come, I get a little confused and a little discombobulated. And I could accidentally see something as anxiety instead of excitement, as manic, depressive phase, instead of joy and happiness, right? Because honestly, in my entire life, I never really knew what it felt like to be happy every day. I knew what it felt like to have moments of happiness, but to be happy every day, truly in a state of overflow happiness and joy every single day, I really genuinely thought something might be wrong. Like I might be delusional, right? So, okay. So here was the thing that I realized. All of it is about vulnerability. Every single part of these things for all of us, for the people like you who show up in life, who go big, go hard, you're massively successful when you put something on your radar, you always break through, you always get there, you show up, you do it until, you call yourself out on shit, you notice when stuff happens and you allow yourself to sort of stumble your way through to get to the other side, you invest in yourself, when your soul says yes, you say yes, you back it up. So it's kind of like we're constantly living on the edge of what we're able to do, on the edge of what we're able to create, on the edge of what feels acceptable, on the edge of what feels familiar, right? And so in that space, I realized there's a shortcut through all of this. Yay, I found the shortcut. You guys know me. I love things to be easy and I love the shortcut. Oh my gosh, I was just told I have an upper limit issue going on. This is crazy. Yes, it's a real thing. It's genuinely real. It's how the brain works. It's some neuroscience, right? I mean, it's real. The upper limit book, what was his name? It's the goldfish one where he jumps from one goldfish to the other. It's a really great book. I can't think of, let me look up what it's called. The Big Leap. It's called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, I think. I don't see the name right now, but I think it's something Hendricks. Gay Hendricks? Okay, so when I read that book, I had a ton of epiphanies. I thought it was really amazing because it helped me to point out and see, oh, there's clearly tons of moments in our life when we, and I won't forget the shortcut. There's tons of moments in our life. We're all the same. We're all human. We all have the same human experience. So we all identify with this stuff, right? There's tons of moments in our lives when we like start to do good, and we'll do good for 3 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, whatever that capacity is to have it. And then all of a sudden we hit something, right? We hit something. We're like, I don't know what this is, right? So like I released all these old things, and I'm like, whoo, wide open to this. I've created an opening now, right? Like I've created an opening for this new thing to come in, but all of a sudden the new thing comes in, and I'm like, pretending like I don't know what this is. I don't know what's happening. Is this good? Is this bad? What's gonna happen? I don't know what that's gonna look like. Blah, 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 right? Like that's what we do. Hi, Vanessa. So good that you talk about this right now. Fascinating. Yes. Okay. So the upper limit thing is real. The thing with the Gay Hendricks book that bothered me was he didn't tell you what to do after. Did anybody else read this book? Literally, it like points out all of the ways that we have upper limits and to watch for them, which is great because awareness is big. But then what? It didn't tell you what to freaking do. I was like, so then when I notice I'm having an upper limit, then what? It doesn't say. That drove me nuts. Okay. So here's what I realized. All of the times when I'm expanding into the next space, all of us, right? When we're showing up and we're growing and we're expanding and we're crushing life and we're absolutely just shifting and outgrowing old behaviors, and we keep expanding into that new space and all of the things we're doing, it's literally only a state of vulnerability. An upper limit is nothing more than a state of vulnerability. And it's what we focus on in the moment of vulnerability that will change everything. You want to fast forward through everything? Right? I do. I want to fast forward through everything. I want the maximum amount of results at all given times. That's what I really want. That's what I really long for. Hi, Liana. Well, now I'm glad I didn't get the book. The book is still really good, though. I really do recommend the book. Just know that it doesn't tell you what to do about it. It was so. I'm like I had a bunch of friends reading at the same time. Like, did anybody else notice that he didn't tell you what to do about it? Was it just me? Hi from California. Hi, Carolyn. Read the book. Still confused. But it is still a good book. I mean, absolutely love the book, but it just totally does not tell you what to do. But I figured it out. It's okay. I'll give you the answer. So then you can read the book and you'll already know the answer. Okay, so what I realized is the only thing that's happening, it's not like a lot of people think sometimes I have to like go back to my childhood and figure out what trauma originally happened, and I have to work through all of it, and I have to like find this thread all the way back, and then I have to find the story and I have to rewrite the story. I'm not saying that's not valuable work. That is valuable work. Of course it is. Anytime we're removing blocks in our life and we're rewriting stories that give us results that we don't want, right? Not bad stories. Hi from Melbourne. Hi, Carly. So anytime that we're engaging in things that don't get us results we want, it's nice to shift those. However, it's not required. We realize this, right? Change happens in an instant, right? So my biggest shortcut that I figured out was like, oh, okay. All that's happening is I'm feeling vulnerable. That's it. I just feel vulnerable. I feel like I can't predict the future. This is a bit unknown. It's unfamiliar to me. I'm unfamiliar with this feeling. It's a bunch of feelings that I'm unfamiliar with. And I really just want to know that I'm safe. I want to know that I'm going to be okay. And I want to know I'm not going to look like an idiot. I want to know that I'm not going to, act out of character for myself or some crap like this, right? And so then we feel vulnerable. Now, just like y'all, I know you guys know this. Everybody's heard it 100 times probably. If not, great. You're going to love this, right? If I focus on, if I'm feeling like this, or just like those feelings, like that anxiety feeling, if I'm focused on, oh my God, this is going to be so amazing. This is going to be so great. We're going to feel excitement. If we're feeling like, I don't know what this is, I'm unsure, blah, 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 we feel anxiety. It's the same thing with upper limit. Same exact concept, only we're applying it to vulnerability. So when you're vulnerable, which is different, it's a different feeling. It's more like I'm naked. It's more like I'm vulnerable. Susceptible to something, right? Like something could happen that's out of my control. If we could recognize the power in this moment that we have to just change our focus, it's the same exact power move. You will fast forward through everything. right through it. Absolutely right through it. So you're feeling vulnerable. You just, what you put your focus on. 99% of the time, all that happens when you're feeling that like vulnerability and you're like, I'm not really sure what's going to happen. And then we start to freak ourselves out. 99% of the time when it takes you down, when you snap back to that old behavior, it's because you decided to focus on something from the past and pull it into your future. Like, oh, I did this before, so that means that's what I'm going to do again. So you're dragging the past into the future. Or all it means is that you decided to focus on what could go wrong. That's it. I was like, maybe that's why he didn't explain it in the book, because it's so basic. But it's like the most basic thing on the entire planet, changes our ever-loving entire life. Every single situation, when you make power moves, when you invest in yourself, when you believe in yourself, when you set a boundary, when you say no, when you say yes, when you let yourself be intimate, when you, you start building something new that you're not sure how you're going to do it, when you go back to an old dream and you start letting that dream bubble again, when you dream big and 10x your visions for your life, any of the things that you're doing that create that like anxiety or bubble, when you're starting a new behavior, a new routine, right? Like something like, let's say you want to do weight loss, or let's say you want to start dating again, or let's say you want to raise your prices in your business, let's say you want to start a second line of income, all of those kind of things, you feel vulnerable. You're going to feel vulnerable in all of those situations. Now, you don't ever have to be afraid of that again, because as you're being vulnerable, the only thing you get to do is be like, oh, I just put my brain on what would happen tomorrow instead of allowing myself to enjoy today. Why? Because it's unfamiliar for me to enjoy right now. I'm just unfamiliar with that. I'm not used to that. I'm used to having to like make sure I put all the fires out. I'm used to having to like stay focused on what could go wrong and make sure everything's okay, make sure everybody's okay. And I'm just unfamiliar with like feeling like I just get to relax right now. I just get to enjoy this. I get to celebrate this. I did so much work and I'm finally here. I finally have it, and I'm not going to waste this moment. I'm going to be present in this moment, and I'm going to enjoy the shit out of this moment. I'm just going to mother love and enjoy it. That's it. And then all of a sudden that vulnerability that feels raw and exposed turns into sheer happiness and like satisfaction. That's what it would be. It would be satisfaction, which only makes sense because that was my word for 2019. Satisfied, like fully satisfied as a woman and as a human being. Can I get an amen for satisfaction? All the ways satisfied. Okay, so it makes sense to me, right? So can you guys see? Now, here was the thing I realized. I have worked really hard to pull in resources and pull in people and pull in circumstances that remind me of this constantly. This is so deep. You explain things so easily. Oh, thanks, Carolyn. I'm glad that it resonates with you. Yeah, amen, amen. This is definitely girl talk in the office. Or people talk in the office. 100%. Okay, so I have recognized that that doesn't happen all by itself. Right? Like we don't magically notice that in the moment. We're not intentional enough. We're not present in the moment enough. We're not enjoying. Like how many times have you worked so hard and gotten a result, and then for 2 seconds you're like, yeah, I got the result. Maybe you told your girlfriends, and then poof, you're off to the next thing. Like you just like, you're so familiar with having to strive for the next thing that we actually don't know how to feel safe just enjoying what we just got. Now imagine what life would feel like if you were surrounded by people that were constantly reminding you to do that. Hi. I was like, that's it. That's it. I'm just going to surround myself with people who are present in the moment with me, who remind me to be present in the moment. And then I actually decided, well, I'm going to create environments. I'm going to create, because it's lacking, right? It's lacking out there. So I'm going to create a space where that's what we're doing. Like literally the Happy and Wealthy experience is a year long of actually being massively intentional and present in the moment and teaching our nervous system to get used to being like, oh my God, I worked for the last 3 years to change this pattern, to create these boundaries, to, release this relationship and to get into the space where I'm open and then have love come in. And here it is, like, oh my God, here's the satisfaction. Oh my God, can I just be present and enjoy the satisfaction? Can I let my enjoyment of what I've actually created be just as powerful as how hard I showed up to actually create it? Girl, you deserve that shit. You really deserve to just enjoy it and just bask in the enjoyment of actually having done the work and come out on the other side and gotten the reward. You deserve it. Oh my God, yes, Nicole, creating the space is key. 100%. So my call to you guys today is 1, what are you not giving yourself permission to be satisfied and enjoy? Number 2, if you're feeling some kind of anxiety, if you're feeling some kind of raw vulnerability, can we actually notice, well, the only reason I would feel anxious, or the only reason I would feel super vulnerable is because I'm worried about, like, I'm predicting something negative. I'm focusing on what could go wrong, and I'm not actually enjoying the fact that if I'm feeling vulnerable, it's because I've taken myself to a space that's outside of my normal, which just means you're growing, which means you're doing a really good job. And can you just enjoy that? Can you enjoy the fact that you are a human being who showed up and worked hard and got yourself into a new space, and you get to actually deserve it? Yes, Shaniqua, you do deserve that shit, right? I mean, like, I'm not just saying that. I mean, you really actually do deserve it. You really do. And what will life feel like if you start being really intentional about pulling in resources and pulling in people and being in spaces and reminding yourself, it's sticky notes all over the house, reminders on your phone, whatever you need to, reminders to actually be intentional and do a check-in, like, hey, is there a part of me that's feeling like anxiety today? And if so, what is the story I'm telling? Where's my focus? That's it. I ask myself, where's your focus, Mandy? Where's your focus? Where's your focus? Your focus is off. You started focusing on some crazy shit from the past that you pulled in and chucked into your future, right? What happened in the past is not evidence of what's possible for you. It has nothing to do with it. You're a different human being today. You have different resources today. You're making different decisions today. You have different behaviors and different attitudes and different beliefs and different ways of focusing and different ahas that you've had. Like, you're a completely different human being. Why would you ever show up the same as you did in the past? That doesn't even actually make any logical sense. Let alone it's just a decision, so it doesn't even if it did make logical sense, which it doesn't, it still wouldn't matter, right? You literally just get to decide and choose who you're going to be today. And that means that you get to decide and you get to choose how you're going to feel. And that means that you actually do have control over feeling anxious, and you do have control over feeling vulnerable in a way that you feel like something bad could happen to you. You actually have that choice. And one of the conversations I got into with my diamonds today, which has been really transformational this year, was the story that the reaction your body has to something, especially if you're someone who's been through a lot of trauma, that your reaction to something is out of your control. Like, I was like, well, like, when someone is trying to take advantage of me, my brain just sort of shuts down. It's like a foggy shutdown thing. I don't really have a lot of control over it. It's just kind of a reaction. And thank God someone was like, yeah, that's bullshit. Like, it's just a story. And I was like, oh my God, it's just a story. My mind was blown. We are in sync. Just spoke about this on my page. You deserve what you desire. Yes, girl. Oh, I love your energy, Nicole. Hell yes. That's because we're all the same. This vibes, right? So my mind was ever loving blown. And so ever since then, which was like a year ago, I guess, right? It was like I started recognizing that all I had to do, listen to me. Can you even believe this? So 37 years of my life, I told myself a story, maybe 20 years, I don't know, right? It probably was in my, mid-adult to adulthood. So probably 20, 25 years. I literally believed a story that when somebody was kind of coming at me, my brain would actually get foggy. Like, it was a physical thing that happened. My brain would get foggy, and then I couldn't really make decisions. And the safe move for me was to just do whatever they said. I would just do whatever they said, and then they would go away. One day I had this epiphany that they don't go away. Oh shit, they don't actually go away. When you keep when they threaten you, or they make you feel uncomfortable, or they scare you, and they're manipulating you a little bit, and you just keep giving them what they want, they don't go away, ever. They never go away. Hint, hint, if any of you are stuck in that pattern, they don't fucking go away. They keep coming back. It's a never-ending pit. And one day I was just like, holy crap. That's never going to stop. They're never going to go away, right? That doesn't stop. So then I was like, well, shit, now what? I've let this go on for so long. Now what do I do, right? So then I started recognizing that I got to actually create a boundary with that. And then as I created a boundary with that, that got cleaned up, right? I feel really funny because I'm laughing because I'm wondering how many people are like, oh my God, epiphany, they're never going to stop doing that. They really don't. They really, really, really don't ever stop doing that. If someone's taking advantage of you, if someone is making you feel like you have to do something or you're bad, they are not going to stop doing that. That's a boundary that you have to set. That's a dynamic you have to change, right? And the way that we're able to change that is because we actually start to do the work for ourselves to recognize that we had the power to do that all along. Like, you get to change the dynamic because you deserve to have an experience of life that you want to have, right? Okay, so I started figuring out that that was an endless pit that was never going to stop. And then I needed to clean it up. But in order to create that boundary that we're talking about, right? Like we create the boundary. They're not magically just going to stop getting what they want. Humans are humans. It doesn't make them an evil, bad person. It makes them human. Humans try to get what they want. That's what we do. We're just fucking humans, right? Yes, I know I'm right. And I know this is sometimes a hard subject, but it's very necessary. It's very necessary because we just all get to be happy and wealthy and successful for the rest of our lives. And that's it. We just get to have that. So then I started being like, okay, well, why am I just like, I have this foggy shut down brain thing and I get scared and then I just do their work for them. Why is that happening, right? I didn't need to go back and relive all my traumas and why I disassociated from my body when I was a kid and all these things. All I had to do was recognize, okay, I'm doing this foggy brain shutdown and start asking questions about that. I started asking questions about like, well, okay, I know that some people know how to live life without letting people take advantage of them. So what do they do? What's different? How do they talk? What do they think? What's the story that they have? And the story that they had to themselves was, I'm clear-minded, I'm decisive, and it's safe to look at things. When I look at, if something's a little bit messy, I look directly at it and I make decisive decisions about it and I organize it, clean it up, move along to the next thing. And I was like, what would happen if in the moment I just decided that my brain doesn't get foggy brain shutdown? I just decided that that's not what's safe. My story was it's safe to have a foggy brain shutdown, not look directly at that, like here's a human being who's supposed to love me, who's taking advantage of me. I don't want to look at that situation. That's not safe. That's some fucked up shit I don't want to look at. I'm going to just like make it go away. What if that wasn't safe? What was safe was for me to look directly at it and remind myself, I have a clear mind. I have clean energy. I'm able to look directly at this and I can make decisive decisions. And then I learn and get savvy through that and I move along to the next thing. And every time I look at something, only good things happen. What if I decided that that was the story? Would I still have that same bodily reaction of the foggy brain shutdown? And the first time I ever tried it, nothing else ever happened. The only thing I had to do in the moment was realize that it was a bullshit story that I was telling myself that I had foggy brain shutdown wasn't real. It was a procrastination safety mechanism because I felt vulnerable and I felt scared to look at it and I felt like I don't know how to deal with that and that feels scary, so I don't want to look at it. I'm just going to keep looking this way and do their work for them and blame them like it's their fault. That's what I was doing. And as soon as you can see it for what it is, you're like, oh shit. It's not a real thing. It's a boogeyman. It was a boogeyman. Foggy brain shutdown was a boogeyman. It wasn't real. It was a thing that I thought was real that had nothing to do with real. And this is the kind of stuff that happens when we can be intentional and when we're actually implementing the things that come up for us and the things that we learn and we're being really intentional about implementing them, right? I was being very intentional about what's actually happening in this moment. What is the story that I'm telling myself? And then allowing myself to release it. And now here we go, like 6 months later, right? Like I've released things, I've outgrown things, I've whatever, like many relationships in my life. This isn't some specific relationship I'm talking about. This is many relationships in my life, right? So like many relationships I've changed the dynamics of, and here I am on the other side and I've created this massive space for good people and you know, relationships that there's a value exchange and romance and fun and excitement. But then all of a sudden they start coming in and I'm like, I don't know what this is. I think I'm manic. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm not sure what's happening here. Something bad might happen, right? And it was just because I was unfamiliar with that. So then I got really intentional again. Really intentional. What's happening? Oh, I'm just feeling vulnerable. And in that vulnerability, my focus, I'm not right because I'm feeling a little destabilized. My focus is going to what bad things could happen. And I'm just not allowing myself to enjoy the mother-loving, what is it called? Bounty from my hard work. Like the fruit of my labor. That's what it is. I don't know what I said the first time, but I'm pretty sure I was trying to say fruit of my labor. I just am not allowing myself to actually enjoy the result on the other side of all the hard work. And it's so easy in that moment to be like, see, I'm still screwed up. I still have something wrong with me. I still need to fix this, or I need to figure that out. Or, you know, let me frantically go look for something else to help me through this, instead of all we had to do was just be really intentional in that moment. So I'm from the bottom of my heart saying, you know, maybe the happy and wealthy experience doesn't feel like a fit for you. It's a year long. The investment is $555. It goes up on Friday to $777 per month. So if you're going to do it, now is the time. But if that, like, we deserve, it's a must. It has to become a must that you surround yourself by people who are going to influence you to be intentional, who are going to influence you to remember in the moment that you're safe, who are going to influence you to remember that look at all the hard work you did. Like, nothing's wrong. You just did so much work that you outgrew yourself and you're in a new space and it's unfamiliar. And no, you're not manic. Like, we need people reflecting this back to us. Now, just imagine for a second. So I'm gonna support you in making this a must. However you decide that's in alignment or integrity for you to do that, it does need to become a must, right? And here's why it becomes a must. Because all you have to do is picture how you will show up day to day when you're feeling anxious and when you're worried about what might happen and when you're expecting, well, I can't do this. I can't invest this way in myself. I can't hire that team member. I can't, do these kind of Facebook Lives. I can't raise my prices this way. I can't whatever, blah, 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 because I've tried all these other times and failed. So you're taking the past and making it your future. How are you going to grow? You're not. When you're stuck in a state of anxiety, how are you going to create? How are you going to expand? How are you going to do all the new things? You're not. Right? Like, none of those things are going to happen, because the only way that we thrive is when we're in a state of expansion, when we're in a state of creativity, and when we actually enjoy the fruit of our labor. When we actually enjoy the fruit of our, how not motivating is it to do all that work and get on the other side and then just start all over again to do a bunch of work and start all over again to do a bunch of work and start all over again to do a bunch of work, and we're actually not celebrating, and then having other people celebrate with us and having other people like, oh my God, you did it. Here you are. You're in that space. Congratulations, sister. Congratulations. You're doing amazing, right? And to have people around us when we start squirreling out to be like, nah, that's a boogeyman. That's not real. I know it feels good to be, we feel validated. Like, look how much trauma I went through because my brain literally shuts down. Like, we want to be validated that way, but there's so many other ways to get validated. And part of that is actually literally just learning the habit of being intentional and feeling safe to enjoy the fruits of your labor. I hope that's the phrase, fruit of your labor. Oh my God, that's hilarious. So true. We show people how we expect them to show up until we change our own pattern. And a big part of this was actually, for me, I'm going to say this, like us, like we just need to own that it's not their fault. That every human tries to get what you try to get what you want. Don't try to act like you don't get what you want. We all try to get what we want, but we will keep getting what we want from people that allow us to do it. And so if people are taking advantage of you, that's on you. It's on me. It's on us, right? That's something that we get to clean up. And you just get to ask yourself, what do I need in order to feel strong enough to do that? For me, it's tribe, it's community, it's doing life together, it's my business, it's my purpose work, it's my children, it's, joy, it's, creating, boundaries and stuff with dynamics and stuff and relationships that are draining my energy, and the requirement being there's a value exchange. If people in my life, there is a value exchange. Every single one of you brings so much massive value to my life. It's insane. If you guys only knew how much value you bring to my life and how much it means to me to be able to run a business like this and do life with you guys and watch you guys grow and expand and celebrate with you and be able to share the things that I learn with you and be able to learn from you guys and learn from your drops of wisdom and just literally doing life together is everything to me. And that is the standard. We do like there's a value exchange, and that is it. And if there's no value exchange, I get to create a boundary. That's it.
Mommy.
Hi, baby.
Are you on a Facebook Live?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll talk to you in a few minutes.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you.
I did this yesterday with stomach ache. I had such a stomach ache I could barely get off the couch, and then I tuned in and asked myself why my stomach hurt, and heard that I was freaking out about needing to show up for the new course I'm ready to launch. And as soon as I said out loud, the stomach ache went away instantly. Way to be intentional, Yana. Boom. Love it. Oh, thank you, Susan. Susan dropped the link for the sales page, but you guys can just PM me if you're interested in it. Yes, girl, we get to do life together for 1 year. Bah, 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 bah. I'm so excited. I am ridiculously excited. Okay, so I know this was a lot. I know it was a lot. Normally I would only go this deep in like really higher end trainings, but this is what I've learned. Like, you guys are unbelievable, incredible, powerful human beings. You are showing up, you are doing all the things, and there is some sneaky stuff that I'm seeing consistently in my tribe and in my community of people who are really struggling with seeing it for what it is. They're seeing it as something's wrong when really it's like something that I've been saying over and over. And I know when I'm saying something over and over, there's kind of a wave that's going through the tribe, and there's like an energy that's in there. And so I always want to address that energy and call the whole tribe to more. So the energy and the being called to more right now is recognizing where your focus is, because your focus is creating the emotion, right? So like if you want to feel excited, you change where your focus is from what could go wrong to what is amazing. And if you want to feel satisfied, then you change your focus from, oh my God, I'm super vulnerable right now, something bad could happen, I don't know what's going to happen, to like, this is going to be amazing. When you shift your energy that way, you feel satisfied. When you give yourself time and space to actually celebrate the win, celebrate that you're on the other side of all the work, all of those things create a completely different experience of life. And you have control, do you see? You have control over all of it. No need to understand your entire past and figure out some deep pattern and all these other things. You do that when that feels good. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not required. What's required is for you to just be intentional about it. So that's my first call to action for the community. My second call to action is get a deep tribe where you're doing this kind of work consistently. Call in the people, the mentors, the support, the community of people that you have day to day, where you can be really intentional about the things that you're doing in your life, right? Because all of those things that happened today, I did a blog today, you guys can check it out. I gave a couple of examples. One of the examples was one of my cleaners here. She kept asking for me to pay her ahead of time a week, and then I did a week and I was fine with that, but then I had already paid her ahead of time a week and she asked me to pay her for 2 more, so she wanted to be 3 ahead, and she had already canceled a couple times, and so I very messily, and I told the story in there, which is kind of funny, said no. I did say no, but it was kind of messy how I did it. But it was like something like that. I could be like, well, why is that way? And how come people show up like this? And I could read into it, and I could be like, oh, people are lazy, or they don't show up, they don't do what they want, or people are fucked up, or whatever story I could have bought into it. But instead I was just like, oh, they're like, thank you, God. He's sending these chances for me to continue practicing this work and practicing like being really clear about the stuff in the foggy brain. Like, I don't want to go back to foggy brain. I don't buy into that bullshit anymore. And so I have a chance to look at it like, okay, this is uncomfortable, but I'm going to look directly at it and I'm going to be decisive, and I might stumble right on my face and I might shake my way through it and my heart's pounding and I'm nervous and I'm anxious and whatever, but I'm doing it right through it, right? I'm going to nervous, shaky my way right through it. I've been told I'm like a chihuahua. I get excited and I piss and shit on the floor. That's what a friend of mine once told me. It's the funniest thing anybody's ever said to me in my whole life, because nothing has ever resonated so deeply. So I might chihuahua my way through it, but I'm going through it and I'm going to get on the other side. And every time I allow myself to do it, it just gets easier and easier and easier and easier, right? So like, that's just a focus change. That's it. That's it. And that's because I live life with other people where there's a value exchange, and this is required of me, right? So like in my community and tribe, in the happy and wealthy experience that we're doing for an entire year, what's required of you is to be intentional. So what's going to be reflected back to you over and over and over is being intentional, is actually implementing the things that we're doing. And it would feel awkward and weird not to, because that's what we're doing, and we're so immersed in that energy that it just becomes what we do, right? And then we just easily remove the blocks. I'm not saying gracefully, but easily. Yes, easily. I love you guys. Okay, so this was a lot. You might want to rewatch it a couple times, but I know it's needed in our community. And if you're feeling a call to do this level of work, that is the Happy and Wealthy Experience. We would love to have you. Make sure you get in before the price goes up on Friday. It's actually going to go up again after that. The standing price in the future will be $1,000 a month. This was intended, it was built to be $1,000 a month experience. So for people that aren't quite ready for like the Diamond Mastermind, or to invest in the higher level programs that are like $4,000 a month and $6,000 a month, stuff like that. If you're not quite ready for those, but you really are ready to have this level of accountability and this kind of tribe and community and intentionality and this level of growth, that's what this was designed for. And there's some really powerful, incredible people in this group already, like really incredible people in this group. Unbelievable. These people blow my mind. And so the price is $555 a month right now, and will go up to $777 on Friday. And then after that, probably the following week, it's going to be $1,000 a month, and it'll stay that way indefinitely. So now's the time to get in, and you'll lock in that price. So if we end up running this, year after year, and it's something you want to stay in, you can lock in that price. So I highly recommend it if this resonates with you, if my energy resonates with you, if my tribe's energy resonates with you. Then I recommend it. If you have any more questions about it, just PM me. And then also, don't go trying to fix it all at once, right? Like, this isn't about fixing it all at once. This was my shift for me. This is what felt good to me. So all I would do is just be like, oh, it's just right. Like, when I realized that the foggy brain shutdown thing, like, I didn't have to all of a sudden look at my whole entire life with like crystal clear eyes. I feel like I'd explode. There's no way. But it was just like one situation at a time will present itself. One thing, one investment at a time, one decision about investment, one decision about something on your team, one decision about what you're launching next, one decision about the energy that you're bringing to the table in your lives, one decision about how you're going to handle this particular thing with this child, one thing about how I'm going to deal with this particular conversation with a spouse, one particular conversation with how I'm going to handle this one thing in my family, and let them come one at a time, because the universe will give them to you one at a time. You'll never get more than you need to, right? So you can just be like, I don't need to go fix my whole life. Nothing needs to get fixed. There's nothing that needs to get fixed. You're good. You can exhale. Nothing needs fixed. But you are going to have situations that are presented to you. We're going to have an opportunity to be very intentional about it. And you're going to have an opportunity to choose to be the highest level version of yourself instead of just reacting to it. And you're going to get some stuff flushed up that you're going to get to start to work out and clean up. And that's a real gift. So we look forward to those opportunities and what I call stepping into the arena, right? Like from that Brene Brown quote. So it's really like, truly like a situation will come up and you get to step into the arena. It's the arena of practice. Like, okay, it's practice time. I'm stepping in now and I'm going to practice being really intentional. And what will happen is if we're not surrounded by something reminding us, and when other people doing the same kind of life, it just goes off our radar and we just get caught up in life. I mean, that is just natural for people. So, the smart move is for you to do what's required in order for you to keep that on your radar, whatever that looks like for you. It's going to be different for everybody. Makes sense? Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for everybody who said hi and are doing live with me and not spectating, making me be on that stage. I love you guys. Kids, yes, you're right. Okay, guys, have a fantastic night. I love you very much. I think that's all I have to say. Drink lots of water. Don't go to try to change your whole life, one thing at a time. You got this. You're doing incredible. You're doing amazing. And for God's sakes, would you just allow yourself to have a little satisfaction? Okay, guys, love you. Talk soon.